And now taking a look at some news from South Carolina with a local tie-in to the Piedmont Triad area. A former Summerville, South Carolina police officer has been charged with murder. That's after he allegedly shot and killed a man from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, outside of a Chick-fil-A restaurant. WGHP Fox 8 is reporting the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, also known as SLED, announced that former Summerville police officer, 64-year-old Anthony DeLustro, had been charged with murder in the death of 39-year-old Michael O'Neill of Winston-Salem. DeLustro was off duty when SLED says that he engaged in an altercation at a Chick-fil-A in Summerville. Now, he allegedly shot and killed O'Neill. On Wednesday, April the 10th, the Summerville Police Department released a statement which said, in part, this tragedy has devastated two families, and they offer their deepest sympathies to both. Now, the police department went on to say that on April the 10th, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division notified them of impending charges against former Summerville Police Department officer Anthony DeLustro. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division released an affidavit describing the incident, which took place on March the 20th. According to the report, DeLustro, who was off duty but employed by the Summerville Police Department at the time, got out of his vehicle and an altercation ensued with Michael O'Neill. The two exchanged punches and kicks, and bystanders attempted to separate them. During the fight, DeLustro allegedly told O'Neill that he was under arrest. The officer reportedly took his law enforcement credentials out of his back pocket and presented them briefly before the two of them fell to the ground. During the fight, DeLustro's handgun fell out of his holster onto the pavement and landed behind his vehicle. O'Neill stepped back, and witnesses heard him say that he wanted to leave. Investigators say they have evidence showing that O'Neill then tried to leave the fight and return to his vehicle. DeLustro's wife had reportedly tried to physically restrain O'Neill during the fight and stop him from getting into his vehicle to leave. Now, a witness who was holding DeLustro allegedly heard the off-duty officer say that he would shoot O'Neill if he left. DeLustro managed to break free from the witness who was holding him and grab his gun. Armed with his gun, DeLustro approached O'Neill's vehicle, opened the passenger door, and got into the vehicle. O'Neill told DeLustro to get out of his car as he started to drive away. DeLustro, who was partially seated in the passenger seat, reportedly fired one shot from his gun, which struck and killed O'Neill. Now, DeLustro told investigators that he was trying to stop O'Neill, who he knew was trying to leave. He said he did not see O'Neill with any weapon, and O'Neill had not threatened to use a weapon. The report from SLED said a reasonable person could not have reasonably believed that the victim posed a threat of imminent danger or death or serious bodily injury to others because the victim was unarmed, walked away from the altercation, and attempted to leave in his vehicle. The report goes on to say that DeLustro recklessly put himself in danger when he entered the victim's vehicle armed with a handgun. Various news organizations report that Michael O'Neill's father was an officer with the Winston-Salem Police Department for over 30 years. Now, to read more about this story, you can visit the Fox 8 website. It's myfox8.com.